So we're back to the beginning of our row, and we just want to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. So to start another row, we want to chain up 3. And into our next stitch, we want to do 1 stitch. So this row is going to be our 5 stitches in between our increase. So that's 1, 2. In the next, that's 3. In the next, that's 4. In the next, that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in our next stitch, it's an increase. Hopefully you're getting the hang of this by now. So in our next stitch it's 1. Next stitch, 2. Next stitch, 3. Next stitch, 4. Next stitch, 5. And an increase. So we start again. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an increase in the next. So continue along until we get to the end of our row. Okay, so even us teachers aren't perfect. I know that that is an increase, but I know I need to put in 2 more stitches, so I'm short 1 stitch. So I've counted back around, and look what I found. Oh, naughty, naughty. So that's an increase. So it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the next one is an increase, which it's not. So I need to pull it back, rip it out, and redo that part. So this should be an increase, not this one here. So I just need to pull it back a few rows. A few stitches, which is all good. Okay, so I fixed my mistake, and I'm back to the end of my row. So I want to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. And now we just want to look at our work to see if it's big enough. Now looking at this, this is basically the size of a baby's head, and of course we need it a lot wider than that because it's actually got to fit the baby. The baby's feet go into here, and then it comes up around sort of their legs and their bum, and then all the way up to basically their neck. You can make it longer if you like, so it comes up to their head, so you know you can position it how you like, so it's a lot longer. So what we need to do is keep going with our increase rows until we have it wide enough so that a baby will fit in there. So it's basically like a sleeping bag. You need to make it wide enough so that the baby can actually fit in there. So I think we've got quite a few more rows to go. But of course if you're using thicker yarn than I am, you might have got to your width already. A baby's waist is about 14 inches. That's a newborn, is about 14 inches. So we want to make the opening of this about 14, 15, 16 inches. So that, I mean, if it's too big it doesn't matter. If it's for photography purpose, you can just tighten it at the back, fold it up under the baby and fix it up. You won't even know it's too big. If this is just for your own personal use, for prams and things, you just want to make it about 14 to 15 inches around this part here. Now I'm going to measure and see what we've got on mine. So what we're going to do, it's 14 to 15 inches around the waist. So I'm just going to squash it down, and then we're going to halve it. So it's between 7, 7.5, 8 inches across here. So far Mine's about nearly 6.5 inches, so I need to keep going and increase rounds until it's big enough. So we want to chain up 3, and now we need 6 stitches in between our increase. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now we do an increase. So that's 2 into the same stitch. We want to do 6 more stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then an increase. Okay, so we just want to repeat that until we get back to the beginning. So making sure that you ended on your increase, we want to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. And now we want to chain up 3. So now we need to put 7 in between our increase. So that's 1 is our chain 3, 2, 3, 4, excuse me while I adjust the wool, 5, 6, 'Go in there. 7. Now I've lost count. Making sure we've got it right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the row below, so this should be 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In our next stitch, going to work our increase, which is 2 into the same stitch. So you want to work another 7. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and now work an increase. So we just want to continue in that fashion all the way to the end of the row. So slip stitching into the top of the chain 3, and now you want to measure your work, if you haven't already, to see if it is wide enough. So we need it about 7.5 to 8 inches wide. Oh, look at that. That was an absolute fluke. I haven't measured that yet. I measured that live on camera. So we have 8 inches. Now, of course, you can make it as wide as you like. You can make it, if it's for bigger babies, you'll need to make it a little bit bigger. And I might even do just the one more row of increase, and then I will show you what you need to do after that. So this was 7, let me just double check, 7 in between each row, in between each increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, and an increase. So our next row will be 8 in between our increases. Any other rows after that, 9 in between. The next row, 10 in between, and so on and so on. So I'm going to do one more row off camera of increasing, and then I'll show you what to do. Wow, look how much it's grown just with that one row of increase. Gone from 8 to 9.5 inches, but that's fine. I don't mind that. So mine's perfect size. I need to now just create the sides of our work. So all we need to do now is 1 double crochet in every stitch around. When we get to the end of our row, we are just going to slip stitch as we have been doing previously on every row. So 1 double crochet in each stitch around. And how easy is that? So there's no increasing here, and this is going to make the straight sides and the length of our baby cocoon. So that's just 1 in every stitch until we get around to the end of our row. So we are slip stitching to the chain 3, and we're just going to repeat every row exactly the same as that. So just chaining up 3, 1 double crochet in every single stitch, and then when we get to the end we slip stitch to our chain 3, and you just repeat this until it is long enough. And here we go, here's our finished baby cocoon.